I can tell you why furries exist. Spoilers, it's the internet's fault. If you're anything like me, one day this forbidden knowledge just entered into the public consciousness and hasn't gone away since. It seems to have just come out of nowhere. It's even reached meme escape velocity and jumped into boomer circles.
Meow. Oh, you're a fuzzy?
How did it all happen? Why on July 15th, 2017 did I wake up blissfully ignorant, but then on July 16th become painfully aware of crinkling?
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Well, you're in luck, boys and girls, because I'm gonna tell ya. Let me get this out of the way first, of course. No hate to my furries out there. Ironically, things have gotten so crazy that I'm using you as a relatively non-controversial example of a much larger point, like how viral ideas spread, but more to that later. To explain this, I need to introduce you to network theory. Networks are made up of nodes and edges. Nodes can be either on or off, and whenever a node gets turned on, there's a chance that all the touching nodes also activate. And with those pieces, we have a really useful tool for explaining how things spread, like viruses or ideas. Damn it, Talkman, what does any of this have to do with yiffing?
Hey yo!
Don't worry, I'll show you. See, let's think about our nodes as people and activations as ideas. This whole video essay and all visualizations within it are based on Kevin Simler's Going Critical. Real Jamastanis will remember that we like all his shit. So check out this visualizer. These bits are nodes, touching ones are edges. We can demo activations here. You get the point. Let's do transmission rate first. It's the percent chance our idea has of spreading to another person. Low, less spread, high, more spread, you get it. Next, degree. How many edges does the node have? Opportunities for that viral spread. Same direct relationship as transmission rate. See, back in the day before the internet, we didn't have very many edges. If you had an idea in a small town, it didn't have many chances to catch on. If Jim Bob from rural Arkansas showed his cousin a picture of his fursona, he'd probably just get his ass beat. Even if someone the other town over would be into it, they'd never find out. They'd never have a chance to hear about it. Most ideas just died out.
Scintillating 3'2", the heartthrob of the hoops, Lola Bunny.
Get it? Because follicles are like the roots of fur. Anyways, anthropomorphic animals have been around about as long as humans have. So why did it take so long for someone to suggest fucking them?
Hey yo!
That's my point. It didn't. The ancient Greeks, known for their lewd behavior, have all sorts of stories about that. Zeus seducing women in his animal form, from satyr orgies to the origin stories of minotaurs or centaurs abducting people. The fictional roots were there, and I'm sure some Dionysus theme parties ended up involving costumes. We got the initial spark. But why didn't the idea stick? The ground conditions existed and they weren't going anywhere. Humans exist and animals exist, so the concept of anthropomorphic animals is inevitable. But no matter how many times the next idea must have occurred, it never gained any real traction. Not until we got a new way to communicate: comic books. The era of superheroes had a Catgirl-shaped void in it, and it was only a matter of time until, well, 1985 Comic-Con, fans of these comics start to have parties at their hotels, and they begin to notice a lot of overlap in attendance. Thus, CritterCon was born, and attendees kept in touch over this new technology: the internet.
I took the initiative in creating the internet.
Back to networks. So, there's two ways for ideas to take off. It can have a really high transmission rate, or it can have a lot of neighbors. It might be really easy to think that 100% transmission rate would be a really compelling idea, the highest quality meme, but that's not really the case. It's stickiness. Justin Bieber's Baby has 3.4 billion views at the time of recording, and hundreds of millions watch these dystopian gambling spectacles. They're not the highest quality possible. They're the most compelling clickbait, earworms, that sort of thing. These have something else big going for them too, but that'll be our next point. For now, transmission rate is how infectious or sticky the idea is. And I'm sure the furry idea is pretty sticky.
Hey, yo!
But it's definitely pretty low transmission rate. How many people have to hear about it for one to bite? In our old examples of ancient Greece and comic book culture, we saw these relatively low transmission rate ideas take off in their own little pockets. So why was that? Node density. That's how many neighbors each node has. For the first example of ancient Greece, people gathered into cities. Historically, cities and universities have been centers of innovation and culture. It's because there's a bunch of people gathered into an area. Ideas have a higher chance of catching on just because there's more opportunities. And how about our second example of comic books? That's giving our author node a bunch more edges too. It's a new technology, a new way to communicate and spread ideas with each other. Even though the nodes that got infected were spread all across the country, printing and distribution made that possible. So there's two ways for ideas to catch on. Either they're really sticky, or they have a lot of chances to spread. And that's the second part of why these have millions of views, because they got billions of chances to be seen. So I talked about Jim Bob and his fursona earlier. What happens when you give him an internet connection? So don't be mistaken, these early conventions were their origins and their watering hole, but the internet was their home, and their population grew as their environment spread. See, in the 80s, the internet was already around, but it was primitive and mostly for governments and schools. But then as we progress in towards the 90s, we get Mosaic, Netscape, and Internet Explorer. And then by 2000, America Online had 25 million subscribers just itself. By that time, we have email chains, chat rooms, and instant messaging. Lots of tools for furries to use to keep in touch with each other. And then the first plane hit the tower. Not the one in 2001. In 2000, a website called DeviantArt was launched, and the world was never the same. Artists now had an easy place to host a public gallery of whatever they wanted, cultivating a huge boom for all types of fandoms, including our furry friends. And this also served to put more of them in touch directly with artists, creating a thriving economy of commissions. And then the second impact. In 2003, Linden Lab released a game called Second Life. It was marketed as an online sandbox with endless potential for user customization. Now that I think about it, this is basically the metaverse before VR chat, before Roblox. So we have like 3 before Zuck got his hands on it. Anyway, this became a major hub where they could hang out together with their 3D avatars and engage in all sorts of roleplay. From that moment on, there was no putting that genie back in the bottle. It wasn't long before dedicated spaces arose. The population had achieved critical mass. The idea that had sparked all those times before was finally gonna get to not only survive, but also spread. Furry was destined to become a household term. I have a confession to make. This isn't really a video about furries. Like I said before, funny enough, I chose them as kind of a non-controversial example. This illustrates the way that every viral idea has spread, from using rocks as tools, to gambling on Labubus, to our extremely divisive modern political landscape. I mean, no hate when I say this, but people have noticed that things are getting a lot stranger. This phenomenon occurs on small micro scales with harmless trends, but also on horrifying macro scale ideas and issues. There is a strong incentive to embrace the nothing ever happens position and say that things have always felt weird and this is just immediacy bias we're seeing. But that isn't the whole story anymore. The world is going to continue getting weirder by the second for the rest of our lives. The mechanisms by which we communicate and think and learn have been accelerated. We can spread any new idea so far and so fast, and it can bounce off of so many new nodes that will achieve new permutations of things that never would have been possible before, and on a daily basis. Think about every invention or work of art that only exists because the right people were at the right place at the right time, and now realize how easy it is for those to occur. Everyone with an internet connection is constantly exposed to everyone else with an internet connection. I don't want this message to be taken as negative. We're living through an unprecedented experiment. I've often thought of the internet as a consciousness explosion. We've gained new access to each other's minds, our ids and superegos exposed to each other and intermingling like some Lovecraftian monstrosity. Like access to each other's streams of consciousness, the best and worst of ourselves. We shouldn't be surprised that furries fell out of the cosmic orgy we've created. They're just one in an endless sequence of innovations that are gonna make our world more interesting. The message of this video is to share that phenomenon. There's never been a better time to explore your own niche interests, or just grab some popcorn and enjoy the ride. And speaking about finding your niche, do you enjoy pedantic video essays about philosophy or whatever the hell this is? You're in luck. I've recorded myself overanalyzing all sorts of shit, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So check out the channel below and think about tossing me a subscribe. And holy shit, talking about viral spread, it's been a little while since the last long form upload, and in the meantime, we had a TikTok video hit like 3.4 million views. Like, that's a number I don't even know how to think about. If by strange chance any of you hear from that, hello there. If not, don't go watch that one. I posted the same video here on YouTube and it got like no views, so go watch this one instead. It could use the help. But jokes aside, I'm endlessly grateful for all of your time. I hope this was entertaining and informative, but that's all we've got for today. See you next time.